morning, televiewers, and thank you so much for joining us on this other edition of The Brief, live on My Media Prime Television, a program where we get to dig several layers beneath the major headlines as carried by newspapers. On today's edition of the program, some newspapers are focusing on the vast campaign by the government of the Republic of Cameroon to issue over 4 million birth certificates to children across the national territory. The campaign will kickstart in a few weeks to come. We shall equally tell you about a student of the University of Bamenda who was kidnapped and later found dead near a stream in Bamenda, chief town of the northwest region of the country. He was reportedly kidnapped by separatist fighters, as we are reading in the papers. Bomotonguina Gwladys is here. Let's find out what she gathered for us in the French language newspaper. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous et merci d'être fidèle à The Brief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur Ma Media Prime Télévision. Alors ce matin, nous débutons pour ces titres avec le quotidien Réalité Plus, qui nous parle, lui, ici, de la session parlementaire au Cameroun. À la fin de la session parlementaire de mars, 0 prolongation. Le président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, a encore fini les réseaux sorciers qui annonçaient un poste de vice-président au Cameroun. Les détails sont donc en page 2 et 5 de ce journal quotidien Réalité Plus. Dans le même journal, à sa page 6 et 9, le journal nous révèle que le colonel Roger Nanzengue, voici donc le nouveau commandant, est donc le nouveau commandant de l'EMIA. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous continuons ce matin avec le journal Vision économique qui nous parle, lui, de la lutte contre la contrebande au Cameroun. Bière et boissons gazeuses à l'épreuve de l'étiquette fiscale. C'est du moins ce que nous révèle ce journal Vision économique à sa page 7. Nous restons toujours dans le même journal Vision quotidienne qui nous parle à sa page 3 de recettes de l'État. Plus de 6 500 milliards de francs CFA ont été donc collectés en 10 ans à travers la plateforme IGUCE. Nous continuons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal L'Info à chaud, lui qui nous parle à sa page 2, il nous révèle à sa page 2 que le docteur Dissonguet, kidnappé, a été libéré lundi dernier. Toujours dans le même journal, L'Info à chaud, à sa page 5, il nous révèle donc que la culture camerounaise est donc a été célébrée par le PCRN dans la ville de Douala. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous clôturons ce matin avec le journal L'Info à chaud qui nous parle de l'organisation de la CHAN et de la CAN au Cameroun dernièrement. Le journal pose la question de savoir où est passé le bilan financier. Le contribuable camerounais ne saura jamais ce qu'il a dépensé sur fonds propres ou à travers des crédits qu'il devra rembourser en grande partie du fait de l'intrusion malfaisante dans l'organisation des deux compétitions des task force logées au secrétariat général de la présidence de la République. Néanmoins, les détails sont en page 3 de ce journal Info à chaud pour ce jour. Nous continuons toujours dans le même journal Info à chaud à sa page 2 qui nous parle de Messanga Nyamding, donc est donc dans le viseur du G25 au Cameroun. Pour parler ici du rouleau compresseur. Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est ici que nous arrêtons pour ces titres en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you so much, Bomotonguina Gwladys. Let's kickstart this morning with the Herald Tribune, a newspaper. The Herald Tribune is telling us this morning that a student of management in Bamenda, final year student, was found dead. He was kidnapped by separatist fighters and was reportedly killed. The paper goes ahead to tell us that lastly discussed with him on Wednesday, that's coming from a family member, lastly discussed with him on Wednesday, April 6, 2022, as he told me he will be coming to Bamenda from Anjikwa, where he was, and he never reached Bamenda. From what the family members told Herald Tribune newspaper, the final year student of management was adopted and later killed and dumped near the Mbengwi road, as we are told by the Herald Tribune newspaper. Let's talk about arbitrary grabbing of state land in Mezam division of the Northwest region. Mezam SDO top military officials, magistrates implicated in the said arbitrary grabbing of state land over there in Bamenda. The Minister of State Property, Survey and Land Tenure, Minister Henry Eyebe Ayisi, has finally listened to the cries of many Cameroonians, especially those the population of Mezam division at Bamenda, one subdivision in particular, after several petitions have been filed in to his office about the arbitrary grabbing of land at the government residential area GRA upstation in Bamenda. Most of the petitions have been against the senior divisional officer for Mezam, Mo Emile, whom it is alleged collects not less than 2 million francs CFA before allocating any parcel of land. More details on page 3 of this edition of the said newspaper. Ambazonia infighting goes deadly, writes the Herald Tribune newspaper. Dreaded Field Marshal Isubu killed by rival Amber Group. And the paper is telling us further there have been celebrations around Kumbu, Bui division of the Northwest region after self-styled Field Marshal Isubu, a separatist Ambazonia commander, was killed by another group of fighters led by another self-styled Field Marshal. No pity, the Herald Tribune learned as we are reading. More details on page 8 of this edition of the Herald Tribune newspaper. We leave the Herald Tribune newspaper. We are with the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post this morning is focusing on the power tussle at Nextel. The paper tells us this morning that Baba Dampolo proves big, reconciles with Vietnamese partners. More details in this edition of the said newspaper, which is also reporting about the death of final year student at the University of Bamenda in the Department of Management. The student was adopted according to the paper and later killed by suspected separatists. The student of the University of Bamenda, Musa, the name who goes by the name Musa, who went missing for days, has been found dead in a stream. According to the paper, the lively body of the final year management student of Higher Institute of Commerce and Management was discovered in a river along the Mbengwi route. The circumstances of his death remain unclear. According to family sources, Daouda Musa went missing on April 7, 2022. More details on page 7 of this edition of the said newspaper. CPDM Disciplinary Committee summons die-hard beer supporter. The paper is telling us that the ad hoc disciplinary committee of the Central Committee of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement Party, CPDM, has summoned die-hard supporter of President Paul Biya, Professor Namdi. He was summoned by the Central Committee, and this is not the first time he's being summoned, as we are reading in the papers. More details about what he actually said that prompted the Central Committee to summon him only in this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. We end this morning with the Entrepreneur newspaper, which is talking about President Paul Biya standing again for the upcoming presidential elections in the country, talking about 2025 presidential election. Motions of support, close militant or die-hard militants of CPDM are already calling on President Paul Biya to stand again come 2025. And with your permission, televiewers, let's take the Cameroon Tribune newspaper. Cameroon Tribune is focusing on what I told you in my introduction. The 4 million is a birth certificate which will be issued to children across the national territory. A vast campaign will be launched in the weeks ahead to issue over 4 million birth certificates to children across the national territory, especially in the northern regions of the country. We are back to continue with our discussions, and Maitre Alex Ndive is joining us as usual. Good morning, Maitre, and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys. And it's a pleasure, and I'm always ready for impromptu to contribute to our beloved the Cameroons. Welcome to your entire team.
Alex, the newspapers are still talking about what we discussed yesterday, the infighting ongoing within the Ambazonia circles or circle where self-styled separatist fighter generals are killing each other in the northwest region?
Listen, we always talk in Cameroon, le Cameroun c'est un état du droit. When people are fighting, things are going wrong in a country, I look at the people who are governing the country. What is going on? I look at people who go around kidnapping people, who go around fighting each other. They call themselves separatist leader. To be honest, you have to distinguish people who are fighting. Let me say, if you're fighting the government of Cameroon, you should be heading to Yaoundé. But when you sit in the provinces attacking each other, those are elements of criminality. And you expect to see those who are governing the country step up the game. Is there a criminal procedure or a system in the country?
But the military option is already ongoing to fish out those who have refused to embrace peace.
My point is, listen, I will never condemn any human being or celebrate because a human being has been killed. What I will tell you is that, to me, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Insofar as military, they can go around killing people, putting arms beside them. We don't know. There's no evidence that they were fighting. I want to see people being arrested, taken to a court of law, and they judge them and a jury find them guilty. All those things the military is doing to me is whitewash. We don't have any evidence. I know of people. Some of them, I know them personally. They were killed in Balinyonga. They had no guns. The military put guns there. So I don't buy this idea about military. I want to see institutions working in a country.
And the entrepreneur is telling us this morning that more calls are coming in for President Paul Biya to stand once again come 2025.
This is a problem we have in Cameroon. We keep on hearing that, oh, they are not giving youths the chance. I'm not a member of the CPDM party, but I want to tell all those youth in the CPDM party, if by 2025 I don't see any young person challenging Mr. Biya, I will join the CPDM and challenge Mr. Biya. You people should stop blaming Mr. Biya. Mr. Biya have never come in public and said, I want to stand again in 2023. It's the people who are feeding fight. Those people who are propping up a government that have been there for more than 40 years and they are doing nothing. They are the one putting Mr. Biya. Mr. Biya is just being used as a trademark. People want to keep him there. They know he's not able to run the country anymore, taking into consideration his age. They want to keep him there in order to be eating, embezzling money. I don't see Mr. Biya. Mr. Biya doesn't want to stand. That is the truth. You're a journalist. I know it's difficult to interview the president. If you should interview Mr. Biya will tell you, je suis fatigué. Je vais me reposer avec mes enfants.
So what is still keeping him there? Do you think he's really headless as you claim?
I saw Prime Minister Yang Philomon, is it up to a year? He was in Bamenda celebrating the CPDM, is it Congress or 37 years in power? He was the one saying that Mr. Biya should be the candidate. Minister Famdongo said Mr. Biya should be the candidate. What sort of a party that you don't have other people who can say, oh, I want to take over from Mr. Biya? It is normal. It is healthy for democracy. But you see these people, they are happy. It's about staying in a cabal, in an oligarchy, and be stealing money. That's all what they are interested in. And when I sit on your program, I say they steal money. I'm not the one saying it. Mr. Biya have put a lot of his top officials in prison because they are good at one thing, stealing taxpayers' money.
Session parlementaire de mars 2022 clôturée. La proposition du poste de vice-président n'a pas été proposée à cette session parlementaire, donc on peut faire une croix sur ce poste dorénavant au Cameroun.
This is one of the best questions. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me this question. The position of a vice president should not fool you. I will take you back in the 1958-60 in Gabon, when the first president, President Léon Mba, he was president of Gabon. He was found out that he was terminally ill, he was sick. What did France do? France asked President Léon Mba, create the position of a vice president, make sure if you die there will be no election, and he gave that position to who? President Omar Bongo. and President Omar Bongo was there for more than 40 years. These things are things that they are planned to keep certain people in power. We should be talking about changing institutions in Cameroon. We should talk about citizens' rights. We should talk about making an independent judiciary legislator. That's what we should be talking about, not about position, not about politics of personality court. We keep on doing these things. I know those things. History repeats itself. You guys saw what happened in Chad. President Macron went there and installed Idriss Déby's son, and it's not going to work in Cameroon. I'm very happy that Cameroon have got two different cultures. Cameroon is not Togo. Cameroon is not Gabon. Cameroon is not Chad.
Ça voudrait simplement dire, Maître, ça voudrait simplement dire que les soupçons ou bien les propositions, la proposition selon laquelle Philemon Yang serait le vice-président, on peut faire une croix dessus pour le moment?
You see, that's why I say they always talk about politics of personality court. When you want to create a position, put it in the constitution, let it be a fair game that Gwladys want to stand, Lasha want to stand, Alex want to stand. When you create a position, you put the same people who have been there since 1975. Young Philemon was definitely a minister. I'm sure I was about 2 years old. And the same people want to be ruling me. It's not going to work that way. We are going to fight politically. These people must leave that country for a new generation to run that country. They have done enough. We thank them for the deep sea port. We thank them for the ring road. We thank them for all the promises that they have promised us and they have never kept to their promises. We thank them for the time that they have been there. We don't want problem in Cameroon. We don't want war. We want peace. We want to run that country peacefully. We thank them for their service since 1966, one-party system. Let them address. We thank the CPDM.
Yes, Maitre Alex, from one problem to another, I'm taking you to Mezan Division in the Northwest region, where Mezan SDO and some top military officials, as well as magistrates, they are being implicated in land issue over there in the Northwest region. Why is this thing coming up again? Administrators being implicated in land matters?
You see, I am a victim of the same thing. I have a land in Boya, bought 1974. I inherited it from my mom. That land, I was there several times. Somebody has constructed on that land. I have the documents with me here in London. The person who constructed it is an adjutant working with the government. If you construct or you build on somebody's land, that's a criminal offense. I take it back, is the government is part of this problem. People have been encroaching on my land in Boya. I've been there several times to see the deal. Then I was there with the deal. They brought their lawyers. They said I should bring my document. I removed it. Their lawyers said they are going to Douala to go and bring their own document. They disappeared. The DOs, the SDO, they are part of it. I've been a witness. I've seen it until we start making like the police, that they'll be watching this unelected governor until we are done to live in this situation because they are part of it. Nobody in his right senses could go to a land that you don't have a title and construct there. The government officials are part of it. And if the government don't start rooting out,
as a lawyer, Maitre, as a lawyer, what piece of advice can you give Cameroonians who are watching us at this time? If they want to buy land, what should they take into consideration before buying land? Because somebody sold your land to the adjutant chef you are talking about.
Yeah, my advice is it's very difficult. What I would say, the government should put an institution or a system in place that is transparent. We have something called the land registry in the UK. If you go to any land, it is open to the public. You go there, you can look at it and you will know who owns that land. If there is a system that is transparent, that when there is a land, everybody should register the land. Before you buy the land, everybody will have what they call office copy entry. You cannot sell a land in this country. You go there, you will know this land belongs to Mr. ABC. The government can do it, but sometimes when people are benefiting from entropy, it is difficult because they are benefiting. You cannot ask a rat to stop keeping his groundnut where he keeps the groundnut. You see, they are benefiting from it. You need a strong government. You need a government that a no-nonsense government that will come and remove all these people. Unfortunately, the government, as you know, sometimes they don't have money to pay their workers. So indirectly, they encourage corruption. When the government is corrupt or the system is corrupt, the people who are working, some civil servants, not all of them, they are happy with that system, because how can they be paying you 50,000 francs CFA? You're constructing a house that's worth millions of pounds. So they benefit from those corruption. That's our problem.
Mais que doivent faire donc les populations qui sont victimes au jour d'aujourd'hui de ce type d'abus, parce qu'on a véritablement des populations auxquelles leurs terres leur ont été arrachées par ces autorités?
My problem is they always say your leaders reflect the people. I'm not saying people should take up arms against the government. There's increase in prices in Peru. I saw the people in the street protesting. In Sri Lanka, people cannot sit there. There's a means to protest in Cameroon. If things are not going right, people can organize themselves. Police can supervise them. They can go to the governor's office. They can go to other political ministers' office and protest peacefully. We cannot sit and just look back, because the constitution of Cameroon says Cameroon is the people are the sovereign. If the people are the sovereign, so the people have a right to tell the government that enough is enough. Our people are so docile, they are so dormant, they are afraid of military. They still kill them. You can be quiet as much as you want, you will still die. You have to fight for the future of other people. It is necessary. There is a means to protest in Cameroon. You know how to make the application. They should make the application. It doesn't mean if they turn it down, they will turn it down forever. You keep on doing this on and on. Something must change. Our people deserve better.
Ok, bilan financier de l'organisation de la CHAN et de la CAN au Cameroun. Le journal Info Matin en a parlé ce matin. Jusqu'à présent, le bilan financier n'est pas encore révélé aux contribuables camerounais.
To be honest, when I see such a headline, I will laugh. You know why I will laugh? We know the bilan financier is Forba. Sometimes we just write headlines to write them. We in Cameroon, the people are not privileged to see certain things done in certain way. There's no transparency. We saw what happened recently. The teachers have problems in Cameroon about their wages. Instead of the Minister of Education solving the problem, it came what from A to D. Le bilan, c'est to D.
Thank you, Maitre Alex Ndive, for coming. Thank you to televiewers of My Media Prime Television for watching this other edition of The Brief, which was produced for us by Christain Tebong. We were Bomotonguina, Gwladys, and myself, Lasha. See you tomorrow for yet another edition of What the Papers Must Have Said. Bye-bye.